welcome to the weekend edition of Your Stocks. It's been a good week for the market. 3.5% up move for the Sensex and the Nifty, and the mid-cap index outperformed this week. So we'll discuss all the buzzing stocks on the show today.
Indeed, and what was most important was that feat 51 was reclaimed, 5100 rather for the Nifty, and 17,000 was clawed back for the Sensex. So very quickly, here's a quick recap of all that was buzzing across the week. So, like we just pointed out, the Sensex and the Nifty both posted good gains of about 3.5% for the week, and more importantly, it was the Nifty Junior where all the action lied. So 5.5% up move coming in. The Sensex hit 17,000, the Nifty 5,100 during the week.
And the CNX mid-cap index outperformed this week. It was up almost 6%, while the BSE small cap index was up 5.5% for the week.
Metals clearly were the shining stars all of this week, with the index putting on a good 7% in the green, and stocks like JSPL and Tata Steel and SAIL up anywhere between about 10 to about 7.5% apiece.
And the auto index was not left far behind on the back of those stellar auto sales numbers. So the index was up 5.5% this week. Tata Motors was up 12% for the week, while M&M and Hero Honda saw almost 7 and 5% gains respectively.
And lots of mid-cap buzzers, all of it from metals to airways was all back in action. So Jet Airways put on a good 23%, Gujarat and Ari Coke up 20%, and Puravankara posted a handsome 15% in the green.
And NBFCs were in the limelight this week. So Shrey Infra, India Bulls Finance were up almost 14% by the end of the week, reacting to that news from the budget.
All right, two experts very quickly on the show with us. Sharmila, Joshi on the fundamentals, technical perspective coming in from Ashwani, Gujral.
And each of our experts will get precisely 60 seconds to discuss all of these stocks that you can see on your screen. So on the show, all of the buzzers of last week: Reliance Industries, ITC, Sesa Goa, NMDC, Karnataka Bank and Shrey Infrastructure will be all of the stocks that we'll be discussing on the show.
All right, let's kickstart our Q&A session on that note. Our first caller, Amita, joins in from Mumbai. Hi, Amita, what's your question?
My question is, can I enter Reliance Industries at the current level?
All right, 1,000 plus is where the counter clocked in Friday's trade, and the kind of heady move that the index has really seen. The start of the week has been purely because of the kind of moves that we have seen on Reliance. In fact, the 1 week chart will get you a better sense of how Reliance Industries actually shaped out all of the week. Ashwani, perhaps wait for a dip for Reliance to get into the stock?
See, it doesn't have much of a trend. Broadly, it is between 950 to about 1100. So, if it on a bad day when it gets bad news, goes out for some acquisition or bad results, and you get it around 950, 960, that gives you kind of margin of safety, because on the upside you hardly have 1060 as a resistance and probably then 1100. So wait for a bad day to get into Reliance. It's not one of those trending stocks that you buy and you expect higher levels.
Hold on to Reliance Industries if you have it, or wait for a dip to enter into the stock. That's the technical view coming in. But Sharmila, what's your call on Reliance Industries? Because many brokerages have given a long-term view for the stock, citing many fundamental improvements, and now that Leondel-Basel overhang as well is out of the stock, would you recommend somebody to enter at this level?
If he was a seriously long-term investor, yes. But otherwise, I'd broadly agree with the view that this perhaps we've seen a bounce back come into the stock from a 970 odd level, and I think that again we've seen this stock trade in the range. I think the only bad news that could possibly come for the stock would be the outcome of the decision of their ongoing case with RNRL. But that being said, I think yes, broadly, if you look at clearly a very longer term picture, there would be an upside, largely because of the gas addition, etc., that will come increasingly into the company. But yes, I think, if you haven't bought the stock, don't enter it now. If you have it, you can hold it. And yes, I completely agree that wait for a bad day to really enter into Reliance.
All right, that's the call coming in for Reliance Industries. It had a good run this week, 3% up move all of this week. But let's focus on another stock that was in the news, NMDC. Azim Gupta from Chennai joins in. Hi, what's your query? All right, we snapped that link, but we'll take his query for him. 1,000 NMDC shares at the price of 480 rupees and wants to know whether or not it's a good time to exit and what to do from here on. Sitting in on a bit of a loss at this point in time, Ashwani, what would you advise him to do?
See, now the problem here is probably a bit technical. Whenever, issues are announced, people short futures and then expect to buy the stock cheaper. Now, in this case, there are no futures, so people are exiting the stock. hoping to buy it, 15-20% lower where the FPO may be announced. So he may see, the stock going very close to that price before it recovers. So, 480, he should probably exit and wait for the price to get near the FPO price, which is, 15% lower, and then try to accumulate from there and then ride it on the upside, because 480 will be difficult to get to, and before that he'll be seeing a downside.
Sharmila, now that the cat is really out of the bag, you have all the buzz and the hoopla around, really. The divestment news seems to be digested in. What would you now do with the stock?
Yes, absolutely. I think that now that we know that March 10th could be the date when you could hear a price at which the FPO is going to take place, I think that, I think there are a lot of concerns over NMDC. But I think even if you were to put these aside and just look, take a very fundamental call on NMDC at this price, I think it's expensive. The company, as you know, has 64% iron ore. The outlook for iron ore is very strong, given the fact that internationally prices are expected to go up by 70%. NMDC is largely a domestic player. They've also indicated a 30-40% increase in iron ore. They have a capex plan going forward where they're talking of 2 pellet plants and 2 steel plants. But I think all these will come, they will add to the bottom line in maybe 2-3 years down the line. So I think when you put all this in perspective and look at the valuation that NMDC is trading at, it seems a little expensive. So I would really say it's a sell.
All right. Almost 4.5% is the kind of downtick that NMDC saw on Friday's trade. On to our next query then. Got an SMS coming in. Anupam writes in from Patna. He has about 100 Karnataka Bank shares bought in at the price of 132. Wants to know what he should be doing. It was the entire recapitalization buzz that kept some of these regional banks in the flurry of trade all of last week. Still sitting on a bit of a loss with the kind of CMP that Karnataka Bank was actually trailing at in Friday. Ashwani, what would your call be on this stock now?
See, the stock has generally a wild kind of movement between 108 and 154. It's not the best, private bank. If he can get his acquisition price back, probably move on to something like an IndusInd Bank, which is moving into new highs. So just a hold, and if he wants, he can exit and get into IndusInd Bank, keep a stop of about 145, and look for targets of 180 and then maybe even 235 on IndusInd.
Okay, that's the call coming in on how the technicals are looking for Karnataka Bank. But Sharmila, just on that topic of the entire recapitalization plan for PSU banks, what would your pecking order be right now, and which banks do you think would be the biggest beneficiaries, and how does Karnataka Bank stand amidst all of this?
Yes, I think as you said that, post the budget news, you did have a lot of these banks moving up. But I think there probably Dena Bank or a UCO Bank would be possibly what I would prefer more than a Karnataka Bank. And I think even if you look at the otherwise the numbers of Karnataka Bank and whether you look at the price to adjusted book value, it doesn't come across as really the best bet. So I think if you had it, I don't think there's anything that would say sell it. But I think even if you look at the kind of growth plans that they have, they're planning to go from some 435, 65 odd branches to 500 branches. So I think, not growing, they have not positioned themselves aggressively enough. One bank that we do like in this space is South Indian Bank. We have a buy on that. I think Allahabad Bank, again, possibly in the same space would be another bank that you could look at. So if you have Karnataka Bank, hold, but otherwise I think for a fresh investment, I'd suggest.
Okay, there are many more banks to play with in the market this time around, and banking has been a hot sector all of this week. What has also looked very smart this week was Sesa Goa. It saw lifetime highs after those iron ore prices surged. So we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll discuss Sesa Goa and we'll discuss how ITC panned out as well all of this week. More on that after the break.